Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajadarandana Yashodanandana Brajadarandana Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jamuna Tira Vanasari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Paramahamsa, Pri Vrajagacharya Stotra Satya Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Shirabai Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Skandipiti Founder Sharyas Divine Grace Sri Prabhupada ki, Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki, Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda ki, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Dainitai Gaur Pimanande, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru, to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Takshurindalitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Shyam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Shyam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusuti Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpa Tirubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Ram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara, Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayasa badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Pranam Brahmasamitam Uttama-shloka Charitam Sakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasyaya Namaha. The Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Mukam karoti vachanam pangum nagayate girim yadkripa tamaha bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yadkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. So today we're reading from 11th canto, chapter 17. Chapter 17, text number 10. Text number 10. And okay. Vasudama Prabhu found something interesting. Maybe. Anyway, this title, chapter title is called It's Continuous. From?
Today is 10th. Every day we read.
Okay, you're reading. You happen to be reading this section. Okay. Yeah. So the title of this chapter is Description of the Varnashrama System. Yeah. Adau Krita Yuge Varno Nirinam Hamsa Iti Smitaha Krita Krityaha Praja Jatya Tasmat Krita Yugam Viduhu Adau Krita Yuge Varno Nirinam Hamsa Iti Smritaha Krita Kritya Praja Jatya Tasmat Krita Yugam Viduhu Adau Krita Yuge Varno Nirinam Hamsa Iti Smritaha Krita Kritya Praja Jatya Tasmat Krita Yugam Viduhu Adau Krita Yuge Varno Nirinam Hamsa Iti Smritaha Krita Kritya Praja Jatya Tasmat Krita Yugam Viduhu
Adau Krita Yuge Varno
Adau Krita Yuge Varno
Nrinam Hamsa Iti Smita
Niridam Hamsa Iti Smritaha
Krita Kritya Praja Jatya
Krita Kritya Jatya
Tasmat Krita Yugam Vidu
Tasmat Krita Yugam Viduhu
Adau Krita Yuge Varno
Adau Krita Yuge Varno
Nrinam Hamsa Iti Smritaha
Niridam Hamsa Iti Smritaha
Krita Kritya Praja Jatya
Krita Kritya Praja Jatya
Tasmat Krita Yugam Viduhu
Tasmat Krita Yugam Viduhu
Adau Krita Yuge Varno
Adau Krita Yuge Varno
Nrinam Hamsa Iti Smritaha Nrinam Hamsa Iti Smritaha Krita Kritya Praja Jatya
Krita Kritya Praja Jatya
Tasmat
Tasmat
Krita Yugam Viduhu
Krita Yugam Viduhu Adau. In the beginning of the millennium, Krita Yuge, in the Satya Yuga, or age of truth, Varna, the social class, Nirinam, of human beings, Hamsaha, named Hamsa, Iti, thus, Smritaha, well known, Krita Krityaha, perfect in the execution of duties by complete surrender to the Supreme Lord. Prajaha, the citizens, Jatya, automatically by birth. Tasmat, therefore, Krita Yugam, Krita Yuga, or the age in which all duties are fulfilled. Viduhu was thus known by the learned. Translation and purport by disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the beginning, in Satya Yuga, there was only one social class called Hamsa, to which all human beings belong. In that age, all people are unalloyed devotees of the Lord from birth, and thus learned scholars call this first age Krita Yuga, or the age in which all religious duties are perfectly fulfilled. Kindly repeat after me. In the beginning, in Satya Yuga, there is only one social class called Hamsa, to which all human beings belong. In that age, all people are unalloyed devotees of the Lord from birth, and thus learned scholars call this first age Krita Yuga, or the age in which all religious duties are perfectly fulfilled. Hare Krishna. Purport. Hare Krishna. It is understood from this verse that the supreme religious principle is unalloyed surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Satya Yuga, there is no influence of the lower modes of nature, and therefore all human beings belong to the highest social order, called Hamsa, in which one becomes, in which one comes under the direct supervision of the personality of Godhead. In the modern age, people are crying out for social equality, but unless all human beings are situated in the mode of goodness, which is the position of purity and unalloyed devotion, social equality is not possible. As the lower modes of nature become prominent, secondary religious principles arise, by which people may be gradually elevated to the pure stage of unalloyed surrender to God. In Satya Yuga, there are no inferior human beings, and thus there is no need of secondary religious principles. Everyone directly takes to the unalloyed service of the Lord, fulfilling perfectly all religious obligations. In Sanskrit, one who perfectly executes all duties is called Krita Kritya, as mentioned in this verse. Therefore, Satya Yuga is called Krita Yuga, or the age of perfect religious action. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the word Adao in the beginning refers to the moment of universal creation. In other words, the Varnasrama system is not a recent concoction, but naturally arises at the time of creation and should therefore be accepted by all intelligent human beings. Kindly repeat after me. Or no, you don't have to repeat. I'll just read it again. In the beginning, in Satya Yuga, there's only one social class called Hamsa, to which all human beings belong. In that age, all people are unalloyed devotees of the Lord from birth, and thus learned scholars call the first age Krita Yuga, or the age in which all religious duties are perfectly fulfilled. So one of the points mention here is that from this verse and other verses as well, the system of Varnasrama, Hare Krishna. The system of Varnasrama is not, as some modern people, modern scholars would have us believe, a recent invention. Varnasrama not only, as pointed out by Srila Prabhupada, according to Srila Jiva Goswami, Adao is not just Satya Yuga, but from the beginning of creation. So it's not only from the beginning of this creation, the Varnasrama system, because it is connected with the three modes of material nature, we should also understand that system to be an eternal system. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains about, what is it? The 5 tattvas, one of them being Prakriti. There is Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, and Karma. Yeah. So the first 4 are actually eternal tattvas, eternal principles, eternal realities. So Prakriti, of course, means the modes of material nature. And the modes of material nature are what give shape to Varnasrama. So here's nicely explaining how in Satya Yuga, or at the beginning of the creation, because everyone is situated in not only mode of goodness, but here unalloyed devotion, so therefore there's no need of Varnasrama. We hear sometimes devotees kind of express what is the need of Varnasrama, especially because we are followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is introducing the highest practice, which is pure unalloyed devotional service. And we know also that, according to Shastra, we are in the beginning of Satya Yuga. So when they say, well, there you go, we don't need Varnasrama. It's clear, no, Satya Yuga. But Satya Yuga hasn't yet manifested. We are in the beginning of Satya Yuga, and we can actually begin to see symptoms, and we will see gradually more and more symptoms. Just like I was sharing with Srinath Prabhu and other devotees also, one of our Gurukul boys in 55, minutes has recited the entire 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita by heart, and like non-stop. Practically, it's like, and he's just very naturally, singing. What we read about in the Shastra, about very great personalities who could do so many perform activities which are not ordinary, will gradually also become manifest as the quality of people who take birth at present. Prabhupada one time explained how this movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is a very, very rare and unique opportunity to even come to know about devotional service, about the highest realm of bhakti, is so rare that the demigods are waiting in line to take birth in the family of devotees. And that was Srila Prabhupada's great hope also, that those who are practicing Krishna consciousness become more and more serious in their practice by following the various samskaras which are recommended, so that we have a situation where very exalted personalities, very exalted, already advanced souls from previous lifetimes who have practiced already Krishna consciousness will take birth, and then gradually this gradual transformation will actually take place. Transformation means from what we see at present, very degraded condition in society, a society that is the opposite of varnashrama dharma, which is, what is it? Ugra karma, totally unorganized, totally unpredictable, and basically full of sinful activities. So spontaneous. So we are getting this this very unique opportunity, and that's one of the reasons why it's important to introduce the basic principles of varnashrama dharma. Possibly when we will, in this 10,000 year period, which is predicted by the acharyas, whenever the peak of that 10,000 period will come, then maybe varnashram we can do without. Those who are, really not interested in varnashram, okay, let everyone come to the platform of pure unalloyed devotional service. Because then, yes, then varnashram is not necessary. But until that position is reached, then we need, as our acharyas very clearly explain, we need to take help from that system, which is by nature helping individuals rise to the mode of goodness, isn't it? So we were reading that verse yesterday in the at the program, how coming to the mode of goodness is, we could say in many ways, a prerequisite to actually practicing nicely, properly, bhakti, devotional service. Unless one's mind is purified, unless we are peaceful and satisfied, then we cannot nicely execute devotional service. So everything actually in the Vedic culture, not only spiritual subject matters, the whole subject matter of bhakti, for example, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, as Prabhupada has explained, is the explaining the complete science of devotional service, of bhakti yoga. So spiritual life, and especially in the higher realm, the higher expressions of spiritual life, which culminate in bhakti devotional service, are very, very, very detailed, very scientific. Similarly, the whole material nature. Modern day scientists who have all kinds of tools and equipment and very sophisticated computers are still unable to really understand the depth of, they're still discovering so many things. Means that material, the whole cosmic manifestation, the whole material nature, this very body in which we're sitting, what do we know about this body? We have absolutely no control over this body, practically. Even those who practice yoga, they have more control, of course, because they're attentive about their diet and about their activities, etc. But most people are totally unaware of what is going on, within this body, how this body is functioning, etc. So, in other words, aham sarvasya prabhavo matas sarvam prabhartate iti matva bhajanti mam bhuta bhuma sarva. What is it? Yeah. Those who actually know, those who study, those who take the time to to understand and to accept that Krishna is the origin of this material creation, is the origin of everything, and the maintainer and the destruction, and the destroyer, rather, then such people are considered to be intelligent and therefore engaged in the Lord's devotional activities. And part of those activities, because it is not immediately possible to engage in pure unalloyed devotional service, is within the context of the system of varnashrama, as described in this particular chapter, and of course in other chapters of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Our acharyas also explained that even those who might be situated in the highest realm of devotional service, although they may not always follow the system of varnashrama, they respect and accept that system as being the recommended process by which, especially the vast majority of living entities, which means the vast majority of conditioned souls in the material world, can best and although, we come across the whole concept of varnashrama in so many places, and occasionally we talk about it, but unless one gives more time and attention to discussing the subject matter, then even this material arrangement, this material system created by Krishna, it cannot be understood so easily. So therefore there's a need for devotees to, Srila Prabhupada was emphasizing, Srila Prabhupada did not simply speak about pure devotional service, although he clearly pointed out, and that is understood also, that pure devotional service is the goal and the destination. But in speaking about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and describing how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited actually this highest level of transcendence, especially when he was in Jagannath Puri. In one particular exchange, Prabhupada mentions, and we will not do like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We will not, it might be surprising, we will not follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We cannot, actually. We cannot imitate. Basically, Prabhupada was trying to explain, we cannot imitate personalities like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, personalities like, Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur, or the Goswamis of Vrindavan, who were totally, fully, completely absorbed in bhakti and devotional service, in transcendence, and who could forget about, morning prasadam. Who could forget about sleeping? These things are like prominent for all conditioned souls, and because we are on the bodily platform, but such personalities are totally above the bodily platform, and they are very, very rare, and therefore we cannot, especially in Kali Yuga, where the influences of the lower modes of material nature especially are extremely prominent, very, very strong. So we cannot imitate Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we cannot imitate the Goswamis of Vrindavan. And in that context, Srila Prabhupada would be emphasizing, therefore, the need to follow this prescribed system. And some devotees prematurely conclude that, well, in all of our temples, yeah, we have some people who are managers, we have people who are, helping, we have people who are doing business, and so Varnashram is there. So what else is there to discuss? This is we could say a kind of a shortcut version of what Varnashrama is about. It is that is not a correct understanding to conclude that, well, we're all Vaishnavas. That very point Prabhupada was making actually in a conversation with some of his senior disciples who were actually making this point. Well, Mahaprabhu introduced this system of bhakti devotional service, and our primary activity is to chant the holy name and take prasadam. We are following the system, the Vaishnava way of life, and as we know, Prabhupada would indicate that it is not so easy to be Vaishnava. To be actual Vaishnava means totally transcending these modes of material nature, which is in Kali Yuga not at all easy. It is possible. It is possible especially by introducing and following and understanding. We cannot introduce it unless we properly understand it. So the fact that we've not actually introduced it means that we have not properly understood it, isn't it? Yeah. Otherwise, if we understand, it's like before we came to Krishna consciousness, we did not understand. Once by reading, by associating, then once we understood, we decided to fully, give our lives to Krishna consciousness. So it's like that for anything, unless we give some time and thought and meditate upon something, and then become actually convinced, we will not just adopt anything without a proper consideration. So similarly, the subject matter of Varnashrama, which actually is connected with every single part of our lives, which has to do with how we live, how we work, where we live, what we do, what type of education we should be receiving. All different aspects of daily life are actually connected in ways which most of us cannot properly understand, actually. So therefore, there is a great need for studying at least the basic underlying principles and concepts which make up the whole system of Varnashrama society. And Varnashrama society is can be to some extent introduced in our temples, but actually the complete expression or the complete manifestation of that society. We speak about society. Society means greater society. We are international society for Krishna consciousness, but even ourselves as an international society, majority of our devotees are not living in temples, isn't it? Our society has temples, but the majority of our devotees are living in general society. And general society is meant to be organized based on what is suggested or recommended in the Shastra. So, we'll read again the verse here. Text number 10, especially for the benefit of those who came just a few minutes ago. In the beginning, in Satya Yuga, there is only one social class called Hamsa. It's also referred to as Ekavarna. That's a whole other topic related, actually. But I'll just read the translation again here. In the beginning, in Satya Yuga, there's only one social class called Hamsa, to which all human beings belong. In that age, all people are unalloyed devotees of the Lord from birth, and thus learned scholars call this first age Krita Yuga, or the age in which all religious duties are perfectly fulfilled. So, yeah, Ekavarna is also mentioned. Ekavarna, I only found one reference. Anyone heard about Ekavarna? One Varna. This is another, I would say, concoction. Sometimes people say, well, Mahaprabhu has introduced one system, which is we all become devotees, so it's Ekavarna. That is not the complete understanding or the proper understanding of Ekavarna. For example, Daiva Varnashrama means everyone is meant to be engaged in the divine activity of devotional service. So in that sense, we're all one in practicing bhakti, devotional service. But we are all one within the four varnas and the four ashramas. Or, as Prabhupada coined, the fourth movement as classless society. So classless society doesn't mean there is no class. Classless society means everyone within the different social and spiritual orders are all performing the same basic activity of devotional service, isn't it? So in that sense, there is unity of purpose. There is the same goal and the same objective to worship and render service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So, yeah, the subject matter is still very much in need of attention and more clear understanding on the part of our devotees. And I guess this is one verse that gives us a little bit of insight and opportunity to give more thought to the subject matter. Any questions on this?
Here, please mention Satyuga, there is only one Varna.
Yes.
So, but in Satyuga also we see that demons were also there. They were also troubling the devotees. And then Krishna also comes as different incarnations.
Ado, in the beginning. In the beginning there was only. Then actually, because Satya Yuga is very long period, right? It's the longest of all the yugas. So as Satya Yuga progresses, then demons appear. But from the beginning, there are no demons. Adao means from the very beginning, everyone is situated in the mode of goodness. Everyone is like Brahminical, isn't it? Brahmanas, pure Brahmanas are, well, at the lower levels, absorbed in Brahman, in studying transcendence, and the most elevated of all the Brahmanas are the ones who know about bhakti, isn't it, who are devotees. So this verse is referring to such persons who were engaged in unalloyed devotional service. So in the very beginning, there are at least this verse is indicating here that in the beginning there are only these personalities who are situated in the mode of goodness, and then things deteriorate, because that's the nature of the material nature, and then by the end of Satya Yuga, then in Treta Yuga, Varnashrama system becomes more manifest or more complete. There is more of a need for Varnashrama to be established. Even in Satya Yuga, a mode of goodness means Brahmana. So Brahmana is part of Varnashrama, no? But it's just that because everyone, it's just like in any community, if everyone is like a law-abiding citizen, then the police department won't have so much to do, because everyone is following the rules, the laws. Yeah.
Even there are some efforts of trying to establish some projects, but then still the modes are active on us. So we're not able to take those projects to a conclusion or so how do you overcome these problems? Because efforts are going on, efforts have been made, but then when a group of devotees join, of course invariably modes are working. But then it doesn't fall in place actually when we try to make some efforts, try to establish projects. And it's a very, very challenging area.
Well, that aspect is there, of course. That very point was made by Srila Prabhupada in the 7th canto, especially. Hare Krishna. The mode of passion is going to kick in very soon. 9 o'clock. Hey, we have 5 minutes. Hold it. Actually, in the 7th canto, Prabhupada mentions, speaks on this very point. Vasudama Prabhu is mentioning how our attempts in different projects and especially in establishing, let's say, Varnashram communities, we see it's been very, very challenging. And yes, main reason, to a large extent, main reason being that unless we reach a certain level of purity in consciousness, then if we carry all kinds of anarthas, all kinds of influences by the lower modes of material nature, then naturally the projects won't be successful. So this point in the 11th chapter, when Narada Muni begins his whole description about Varnasrama, in speaking with Yudhishthira Maharaj, that whole, I'm sure most of you have read, the list of 30 qualities are mentioned, and then in one of those purports, Srila Prabhupada explains that the more individuals can develop these qualities, which means that the more they are purified in consciousness, then it will become easier to introduce Varnashrama. So definitely that is one factor. Since many years, practically since the beginning of our movement, since Srila Prabhupada established the first community, which was in New Vrindavan, so many other communities were started, and we have seen it's not at all been easy to establish in a way that Srila Prabhupada envisioned. There's been a lot of ups and downs, and it's difficult to find, even after so many years, isn't it, 50 years, that ideal community. A number of communities have come up and are displaying various aspects of what an ideal society should be. And that is very much, connected with the need and the importance for our devotees to become more firmly situated in the mode of goodness, developing these various qualities that are outlined in the Shastra. And a lot of this has to do, of course, with learning so many different sciences, at least the basic sciences, just like within IDVM here in India, we have devotees like Vasudama Prabhu, yourself, and others who are giving, specific seminars on topics which are, of a material nature, like agriculture and cow care, etc. But these things, unless they are known and understood by our devotees, then our devotees will experience all kinds of difficulties in establishing communities, because the Vedic culture in terms of ideal community is meant to be for the vast majority of people within an agrarian lifestyle, means within a village, and village means that our means of sustenance is meant to be from the land, isn't it? So all of these things need they need to be learned, they need to be studied, they need to be understood properly, and most of our devotees are not giving time to that, and therefore, for example, the whole science of economics that we speak in the context of Varnasrama remains unknown to the vast majority of our devotees, and it even, I would say, remains unknown to many of those who are brahmanas who are meant to be giving guidance, to people, and especially those who are meant to be leaders within society. It's just like in every country, people have different leadership positions, and devotees, we as devotees, the ISKCON society is meant to help different individuals, especially leaders, but unless we ourselves have been exposed to these to this information and to the scientific arrangement that is there, actually, that is described in the Shastra, and that can only it cannot only be done by reading books. You know, we have to actually live that way of life. We have to directly experience it, and then it becomes more of a reality. Otherwise, it remains to a large extent, you know, theoretical. We have yet to understand how you know, we as devotees, I mean general devotees, but in particular those devotees who have that responsibility of giving knowledge, of sharing knowledge, of giving guidance in society. Giving guidance to who? Giving guidance to different sections of society, in particular those who are involved with governing society, leaders, politicians, right? And also those who are producing producing either food or producing, just like the textile industry. Unless our devotees understand the need and the importance of producing natural, you know, cloth, which will not produce all kinds of negative effects to the ecology, as is the present situation. These things have their importance, you know, much more importance than we generally think about. So Brahmana, the very definition of Brahmana means one who is very broad-minded. Broad-minded means that he understands the connection and the relationship between what we eat and how we live, and all of these things ultimately affect our consciousness, isn't it? So it's not, spiritual life is not just about spiritual things. Spiritual life is also about knowing, you know, that is the definition in the Bhagavad Gita, 7.2, right? It speaks about Jnanam and Vijnanam. So real knowledge, complete knowledge, is knowing about spirit, about matter, and their relationship between both of them, and of course the origin of both, which is ultimately Krishna. And that is only possible if we have individuals who are not encumbered by having a job, if they're going to be brahmanas, to earn a livelihood, and they can't really give the necessary time to study the subject matter, which only after which they can properly instruct or advise other people. Okay, I think we'll let the Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Sri Prabhupada ki.
His Holiness Bhaktiraj Goswami Maharaj ki.
This smells very nice. You can take, yeah. Haribol. Haribol.